On the day of the company's annual meeting, Mandy brought a man up. She introduced him as the new vice president. Instantly, everyone's eyes were on me. The manager looked at me with a smirk. Mandy, Lewis has been with the company for years. Why didn't he get promoted? Mandy laughed it off. Lewis is the backbone of the company. He's best at the grassroots level. I knew Mandy was sure I wouldn't complain or leave her. I glanced at the new VP and realized why. He looked exactly like her college sweetheart who died unexpectedly. I felt suddenly exhausted. I ripped off my badge and threw it in front of Mandy. Mandy, I'm done. What do you mean? Mandy asked, slightly annoyed. Her eyebrows furrowed, trying to maintain calm in front of all the employees. I could feel her anger simmering beneath the surface. Everyone watched me with a mix of schadenfreude and anticipation. Some even snickered. They were waiting for a show. Mandy handed me my badge back, speaking softer now. But I knew it was the most she could bend. Alex is just here temporarily. We go way back. It's a temporary assignment. You can still apply for the VP role when the opportunity arises. We're all adults. No need for childish tantrums. But I was past caring. No, Mandy, I'm done, I replied firmly. Mandy's face darkened. I guess she didn't expect such a public defiance. Alex jumped in, his voice humble and conciliatory. Mandy, Lewis really is the backbone. Being dropped in like this, people might not say it, but I bet they have opinions. I'm open to starting from the bottom, giving the spot to someone more capable. But Mandy, hearing Alex's humble tone, grew angrier. Alex, enough modesty. No one is more suitable than you. I placed you here because you are fit for the position. Anyone with a problem can come to me. With Mandy's declaration, no one dared disagree. They all nodded, saying they'd follow Mandy's arrangements. Then Mandy turned to me impatiently. Lewis, I've said what I needed to. Do the job or leave. I smirked, knowing her patience for me was less than for others, even interns. Before I could answer, Mandy continued. Alex, sit next to me. Let's start the meeting, introduce you to department heads. Suddenly, I felt like a forgotten fool, standing there aimlessly. I felt the sympathetic or mocking eyes on me. Without hesitation, I took off my wedding ring and placed it on the table, and walked out. Lewis, walk out and don't bother coming back. Mandy's voice, tinged with anger, echoed behind me. I ignored it and kept walking out. As soon as I left the room, a few colleagues came over with their fake concern. They probably guessed what went down. Lewis, at our age, isn't staying at the company more important? Losing a job is hard, especially for a tech guy like you. Fresh grads are everywhere. Who would hire someone your age? I'm blunt, no offense. Their words were full of implied threats. Without Mandy's job, I was nothing. Leaving her made me a nobody. After a pause, the meeting had ended, and congratulations for Mandy clearing out pests filled the air, even suggesting I was kicked out of marriage. I looked back at the toxic company and their fake faces, feeling tired. Then I sighed deeply. I was Mandy's husband in name only. This role was an invisible chain, keeping me trapped, suffocating me. We met in college. I was her junior in finance. My dad was their driver for years, like family. He once saved Mandy's dad's life, binding me to her. Her dad wished for our marriage before passing. Mandy was grieving her lost love at that time, who died in a similar incident. In her darkest days, I stood by her, helping her heal. Maybe out of gratitude or uncertainty, she agreed to the marriage. But we never got paperwork or acted like spouses. When I brought it up, she'd use work as an excuse to brush me off. I thought her agreeing to marry me meant she felt something. My support surely won her over. I turned down offers from big firms, joining her company as a tech manager, to help stabilize things after her father died and keep things steady. Revealing our relationship wasn't my intent, but it got me on everyone's bad side. My diligence at work, and my care at home. I hoped my actions would slowly change her, make her glance my way. But then, with Alex's arrival, I finally realized, some hearts are like cold stones. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't warm them. I packed my things, went straight downstairs and left the company. As soon as I stepped out of the office building, I didn't hesitate, pulled out my phone, submitted my resignation. The HR manager quickly approved my request. I could already imagine Mandy's smirk when she hears I quit. But now, none of that matters anymore. I returned to the place coworkers gossiped about as a shared apartment. In reality, it was just a place we co-rented. I took one last look at those familiar things and quietly gathered my few belongings, ready to leave. On my way to my new place, I suddenly wanted a drink, so I picked up a few bottles on the way. I ended up wasted, feeling both heartbroken over the useless years and celebrating my newfound freedom. In a daze, I heard a voice. "Oh my, what's this about? Why are you lying on the ground? Are you feeling unwell?" I rubbed my throbbing temples, sobering up a bit. The person handed me a glass of water. I looked up to see a young girl. I hesitated, confused. "Who are you?" She seemed surprised I asked who she was first. She tucked her hair back and smiled. "Didn't the landlord tell you? I'm the previous tenant here. I'm here to pick up some stuff I left behind." "Hey there, I'm Vivian." I frowned, checked my phone, and sure enough, there were messages and a missed call from the landlord, probably drowned out by my drunken sleep. As we talked, I learned Vivian had just quit her job. Seeing her youthful energy chasing freedom, I felt genuine envy. And Vivian, after learning of my recent job loss and breakup, seeing the mess of bottles around, immediately said, "Louis, why don't we go see the ocean together? We've been getting along so well, and since we both just left our jobs, let's celebrate our newfound freedom. I've been wanting to hit the beach. My friends don't want to go with me. You should come." I looked at her face. I honestly couldn't remember the last time I wanted to see the ocean. But life's about these moments, right? I lost my job, what else is there to lose? It's not like I'll starve. So we went to see the ocean in the neighboring city, watching the waves wash and retreat on the sand. I felt a rare peace, and began to talk with her. Vivian was a natural. I guess recent grads are just this lively, not yet worn down by office politics and fatigue. We talked from sunrise to sunset, watched the sunset over the ocean. Her dreams and youthful spirit amazed me. "Louis, I don't think people should be stuck in the past. When I first saw you on the couch, drunk and out, I thought you might be trouble. Gave me quite the scare." She began sharing the funny story of finding me that day. I laughed along. Her words made me reflect on how the past years felt shackled. Ever since graduation, my life was a routine cycle, devoted to the company and Mandy. Day at work, evening with Mandy. Yet she never appreciated it. Her moods kept me on edge. Mandy regretted our marriage shortly after. When I excitedly asked about our wedding date, she poured cold water on me. Didn't want to marry. Only maintained this for her father's last wish. Her home was filled with memories of that deceased man. Photo frames everywhere. They hurt to look at. Any disturbance from me, even cleaning, sparked her rage. It drained me mentally. As I watched Vivian's youthful face, I laughed wryly, opening up about life these past years. I'm not the kind to talk about troubles easily. Being a grown man, and this relationship being hard to describe. I couldn't even recall how I felt about Mandy anymore. But Vivian listened patiently, following my stumbling story to the end. After talking, I suddenly felt a weight lift off my chest. Returning home from our trip, we planned to part ways, so we headed back to the rental place. Vivian continued gathering her old stuff. With a small appliance among them, it took time to dismantle. Watching her busy figure, I was grateful for our chats, but Vivian had her own dreams and freedom to chase. I was just a passing friend in her life, still thankful for her listening and guidance. Walking in, we found unwelcome guests inside. Leading them was Mandy's bodyguard. Seeing me, he nodded politely. "Louis, Mandy wants you back. She wants me back." Their respect felt strange. Her family looked down on me for years, thought I was unworthy. Even her bodyguards were rude. But now they're treating me with respect. Felt odd. But I won't change my stance just because they're being polite. Tell Mandy, I'm not coming back. I won't endure any more nonsense. She can find someone else. The leader seemed surprised by my firm stand. Years of arguments with Mandy, never so resolute. I was always the first to apologize. They never had to step in. Seeing me so determined, they switched tactics from soft to hard. Louis, if you don't agree, don't blame us for taking forceful measures. I chuckled. Their comments were absurd. Go ahead and try. I'll call the cops. It'll be out of your hands. Rule of law society. You guys really want to kidnap someone in broad daylight? The leader stared at me for a while. Finally, he realized that I wasn't going to bend. He had no choice but to speak up. Sorry, Louis. I was being reckless earlier. I'll get back to Mandy right now. He and his crew went downstairs to make a call, and I just sat on the couch waiting. Sure enough, it wasn't long before he returned with Mandy. Mandy walked in wearing a tight-fitting dress and high heels, looking all cold and distant. I suddenly felt like she was a stranger. It had only been a few days, but it seemed like years. Maybe because I had already moved on from her in my heart. Looking at her now didn't stir any feelings like it used to. Mandy stopped and glanced around the small room with her arms crossed, then bluntly said, Louis, I hope you'll come back. You can't really plan on staying here forever, can you? We're still married, you know. What does it look like with you not coming back? Mandy, have you forgotten? We're not legally married. You didn't even get a marriage certificate with me. And now you want me to go back? Sorry, I refuse. She was taken aback by my refusal, then frowned deeply as if she hadn't expected me to be so firm. Mandy sighed after a moment, remaining composed. If it's because of the thing with Alex the other day, let me tell you, it's all resolved now. I'm willing to double your salary if you come back. The company needs you, Louis. Don't be stubborn. Looking at her face, I was amazed she would say such things. No matter what I did in the past, she always belittled me. It was like she thought I'd be out on the street the second I left her and the company. Now she was back, asking me nicely. There must be a problem at the company only I could fix. Turns out my abilities aren't as worthless as she'd said. If she's willing to pay double to hire me again, my worth must be more than that. Sorry, I refuse. Hire someone else, I said again, this time nodding towards the door to suggest she should leave. Louis, can you stop being like this? Do you think I'm Mandy and I can't find anyone else but you? What a joke. Mandy burst out, clearly angry and embarrassed. At this point, Vivian, who'd been listening from the bedroom, stepped out to back me up. Who is this, I thought. First, you said no to him. Now that you can't find anyone, you're back begging him? Quite the plan you have there. I heard it all from the bedroom. Mandy, spotting Vivian for the first time, frowned. Who are you? What's your relationship with him? Before I could explain, Vivian chuckled and boldly replied, I'm Louis's girlfriend. Who are you to stride in here? Everyone was shocked, and Mandy demanded, Louis, explain. When did you start betraying our relationship? I puzzled at her reaction. After all those years, she had never shown a hint of care for me, but I figured it was best not to let this misunderstanding grow. Vivian meant well. I just hoped she wouldn't get tangled up in this mess. We're not, I started to say, but Vivian cut me off, playing it cool. You two didn't even have a real relationship going, so what does betrayal matter? And for what it's worth, we met after you two broke up. You just throw around the word betrayal pretty lightly. Watching Mandy, Vivian continued, every day with you, Louis had no break. He was always creating value for your company, and then he'd come home to take care of you. Honestly, with the salary you gave him, it was insulting. You took advantage of his feelings for you to pay him so little. Do you even know what tech managers with his qualifications make on average nowadays? Double pay is a joke. It's barely average. Mandy looked mortified, her gaze icy. So, Louis, this is what you really think? She asked, shocked. I decided to just lay it all out. Yeah, Mandy, you never respected or loved me. Keeping me around was just convenient for you, useful for life and business. Each day with you was agonizing. Then why marry me in the first place? Grown wings got opinions now, huh? Found yourself a little girlfriend? Mandy fumed. That ticked me off. Oh, you can have Alex as your stand-in love interest, but I can't find someone normal after we split? You can have a replacement, but I can't find someone new? Back off, Mandy. My words left Mandy speechless. Fuming. Louis, I don't want to argue about this anymore. You're just intolerable now. Mandy huffed after taking a deep breath, seeming exasperated and done with the conversation. I listened, unbothered and even feeling a strange sense of relief. Mandy, your opinion on me doesn't concern me. If you now find me unbearable, keep it that way. Don't change, please. Okay. Louis, is this how you want to speak to me now? Mandy laughed angrily, eyeing the small room I rented. Have it your way. You think my pay is low? See if anyone outside offers more. With that, Mandy shot a look at Vivian and stormed out with her crew, leaving me to ponder over what she said. Suddenly feeling a bit pessimistic. Louis, don't be discouraged. Everything I said just now is true. I really think you, with your degree and experience, could go somewhere bigger. Vivian chimed in to comfort me, suddenly remembering something. My previous company happens to need someone with your skills. I'll reach out to them and see if they're still hiring. I'm sure you can get in. If Mandy's offering to double your pay, it's because you're worth it. Your capabilities are undeniable. I managed to pull out a slight smile thanks to her encouraging words, feeling a bit better. Then I spoke softly, thanks, Vivian. Sorry for the trouble. Just call me Vivian. Afterwards, we said our goodbyes, wished each other a better future. Just as I closed the door, a message from Mandy popped up on my phone. Louis, we both overreacted earlier. Let me ask you again, do you want to come back? Think about it. Before, the team was just being considerate. Now here's your chance. It won't wait forever. Reading won't wait forever made me chuckle coldly and I immediately blocked her. Mandy actually swallowing her pride to give me face is a massive change. In the past years, she's never shown me an ounce of kindness or respect. At work, she was harsh to the extreme, iron-faced and heartless. Any small mistake on my part would be met with harsh criticism in front of everyone, with no regard for my feelings or dignity. Now, recalling those embarrassing scenes, a bittersweet feeling wells up inside. Maybe that was the reason colleagues were so cold or even hostile to me. After all, if the boss doesn't respect me, why would they? Our quarrels became routine. Each time, she'd compare me to some deceased ex of hers, making me feel like I never measured up. She knew it hurt, but humiliated me publicly anyway. Back then, I still held a bit of hope and affection for her, so I'd usually back down and take the blame. My attempts to be conciliatory didn't earn her understanding or respect. Instead, it empowered her to trample my dignity more. I tried so hard, poured everything into trying to win her over, only to be toyed with and deeply hurt. Now that I've finally decided to move on, she actually extends an olive branch. If her past self saw this, she'd think she lost her mind. Her change in attitude made it clear the company's really short-staffed. And maybe my skills aren't as worthless as she made them seem. At least I wouldn't be on the street without a job. Following Vivian's address, I found her former company, a leading enterprise in my previous industry. The scale and strength were worlds apart from Mandy's small company. I managed a wry smile, feeling my confidence falter. Vivian really went out on a limb for me, I thought. But since I was already there, I figured why not try? To my surprise, the interview process was smooth. I quickly passed the rounds of screening and assessments. When they shook my hand to welcome me on board, it felt like a dream. They not only offered a higher position and salary, but even threw a grand welcome ceremony. Even the person guiding me through paperwork couldn't help but comment, "Louis, why were you working at a place like that? With your resume and credentials, you'll have a much brighter future here." I was almost dizzy with the unexpected good news. At the welcoming event, I suddenly noticed Mandy's grim face in the crowd. That's when it hit me, this company invested in small to mid-sized firms like Mandy's. Now, joining as regional general manager meant she'd need to meet the new partner. Although unsure whose idea this was, seeing Mandy's livid expression felt incredibly satisfying. After work that day, Mandy confronted me, face full of anger. "Louis, you've won. You got me. Louis, I frowned, eyes locked on Mandy's cold face. She seemed unfazed by my reaction, continuing on. You've proven your capabilities to me. Come back to the company. I'll pay you better with a vice president role. All I felt was absolute disbelief, shaking my head adamantly. As I've said before, I refuse. Mandy, I will not return to your company. Hearing this, Mandy tightened her lips, struggling to find words, before finally saying, if there's something else you're unhappy about, I'd be willing to marry you. Her words made me laugh internally. Once upon a time, I'd have loved to hear that, but she told me to be content. Now she suggests marriage out of the blue? It's just laughable. But at this point, I felt nothing for her. I gazed at her, remaining silent, as she hurriedly tried to explain. If this is about Alex, I hope you'll stop. We're just colleagues, not what you thought. Mandy seemed anxious to clear up any misunderstanding, but I didn't care to listen. I've moved past caring about her and Alex's situation. Not loving Mandy anymore made her explanations irrelevant. Seeing me unmoved, Mandy finally lost her composure, shouting in rage. Louis, people like you I can find anywhere. What's with the attitude? Just because you got hired by the main office, you think you can look down on me? I ignored her shouting and just walked away. Soon enough, Mandy loudly announced that she found a new technical manager. She even brought them to the main office to run some business. They said this talent was recommended by Vice President E. I saw her sneaking glances over here but felt nothing. I just kept doing my job. But it wasn't long before bigger news hit. Mandy's new tech manager faked their education records, causing the company to go bust. This fake talent ended up losing Mandy's company tens of thousands. All that money vanished overnight. The incident got a lot of media attention. I saw Mandy, looking worn out, getting interviewed on TV and saying she's openly recruiting new talent to fill the gap. I turned off the TV and didn't follow up on the developments. I didn't expect Mandy to come find me again, holding a big bouquet of roses. Mandy, what's this about? I asked with a stern face. Mandy forced a smile, saying, come to take you home. What else? No need. We have nothing to do with each other anymore. Mandy didn't want to accept this. Maybe she thought she'd done enough, but I still wouldn't relent. Louis, we've known each other since we were kids. We practically grew up together. You're not going to cut me off completely over this, are you? She tried playing on emotions, pulling out the wedding ring I took off before, and trying to slip it onto my finger. I shook her off. Mandy, you don't really love me. Just like that wedding ring, I was always the only one wearing it. Never saw you wear it. Hearts can get tired. No matter how much I loved you before, the constant hurt wore me down. Louis, know how to let go. Mandy had never heard me speak so candidly about my feelings towards her. She snapped. If you loved me that much, you'd come back. If you come back, I'll get rid of Alex. Okay? I'm begging you, Louis. I'm not joking. I smirked and laughed coldly. Alex, you can keep him for yourself. After that, I ignored her pleas and shut her out. But then she turned into a persistent annoyance, meeting me before and after work, and even occasionally bringing me meals. I found it unbearable. I smiled and told her, people with my skills are in high demand at schools. Your small company could never afford someone like me. I told her to stop finding me. We're done. What do you want me to do, Louis? I've done so much already. If you keep being ungrateful, don't blame me for being ruthless. After another argument, Mandy shouted in anger, tossed the wedding ring, and stormed off. I watched her leave and felt a wave of peace. A few days later, while at work, the company's heiress unexpectedly invited me to a party. When I saw Vivian in her lovely dress, pieces fell into place about what had happened before. She winked slyly and hushed me. At the party, Mandy was there too. Seeing me with Vivian, she looked shocked. Mandy assumed I left her because of Vivian. She sneered, saying, Louis, so you left because you found someone better. You pretended to have principles while all this time you're just a gold digger. Her words were full of disdain. But Vivian wasn't one to back down easily. She chuckled and snapped back. Can't beat you, big sis. Got Louis at home, a crush in your heart, and a stand-in at the company. Hard to tell who you really love. Vivian's retort made Mandy's face darken. She seemed to hit a nerve, and they began to argue. I was about to tell Vivian it wasn't worth it when Mandy's phone rang, interrupting them. She gave us a vicious glare before answering. Soon, her expression turned pale. I overheard bits of the conversation. Mandy, what do we do? Alex took all company's cash and fled overseas. Mandy was stunned, her body trembling. She collapsed to the ground, muttering, "No way, it can't be." I checked the finances. Vivian looked at the distraught Mandy with disdain and had security escort her out. After that day, I didn't see much of Mandy. I stayed tuned for updates. Turns out, after Alex fled with the money, Mandy's company lost its financial lifeline. Plus, Alex's misuse of power made key employees lose loyalty. The company soon couldn't hold out and was about to declare bankruptcy. Police investigations only found a note left by Alex, complaining about being a stand-in and cursing Mandy's ways. Mandy lost everything. Her company went bankrupt, her love life shattered, and her reputation ruined. Things got really tough suddenly. On my way home, I unexpectedly saw her again. Mandy saw me, and she ran over like she was losing her mind. Given her current situation, I thought she might do something drastic. I took a few steps back, keeping some distance. Mandy's hair was a mess, and her past glamorous self was gone. She looked exhausted and downcast. When she saw me, tears immediately welled up in her eyes, and her voice trembled. "Louis, I've been waiting for you for so long. After everything, I realized that you were the only one truly good to me." I was stunned, not knowing how to respond. She continued, "I hope you can be with me. If you want, you can keep working at this company too. I have nothing left now. I just want to be with you. I'm begging you." Her words were full of pleading and desperation, but I couldn't accept her feelings. Taking a deep breath, I felt resigned. "Mandy, it's over between us." But she seemed not to hear me and just kept talking. "I figured it out. I'll throw those things away, those photos at home that you don't like. I'll get rid of them. I just hope you can give me a chance. Please, Louis." However, I didn't want to listen anymore. Just then, Vivian walked out from the complex. She saw us, a flash of surprise in her eyes, but she quickly regained her calm. Now, she and I were living together officially as a couple. I walked away from Mandy and headed towards Vivian. Mandy stood there, still spilling her heart out. In the end, we walked away from that place amidst her pleas. The once glamorous Mandy was replaced by a disheveled woman. Her figure looked especially lonely and helpless in the night. That was the last time I saw Mandy. Later, for safety reasons, we quietly moved to a new complex and started a new life. Our careers were thriving, and my relationship with Vivian grew stronger. However, one day, I suddenly saw news about Mandy's death. It seemed like the overwhelming debt was too much for her, and she chose to take her own life. I felt a bit emotional, but treated it as just another news story. After all, there was nothing left between us anymore.